So we got this guest coming up for about 2 segments, and then I'm going to hit some other news and jam your calls in. I can't believe they're going to pass. I can't believe they're going to pass government health care. I mean, they told you that the banking bailout was to get rid of subprime mortgages and get the economy going. And then the day after they passed it, they said, oh, we're keeping the money and not telling you where it went. I mean, anything they pass is going to be a ripoff. Do you understand that? Any more government? I mean, Obama spent more than all governments before him combined. I thought Bush was bad, tripling the government. And it's not that it's Obama. It's where we are. The banks have hit the end of the ripoff scam where they start stealing more in months than they stole in the previous 100 years. Prestigious scientist Dr. Nils-Axel Mörner, former head of the Paleogeophysics and Geodynamics department at Stockholm University, the head of the department. He retired in 2005. He was a critic of the IPCC, the handpicked scientist, and the notion that the global sea level is rising. Well, I'm no genius, but I look at randomly San Francisco sea levels that actually dropped the last 3 years. But, you know, that's just the local meters. I guess the UN will have to fix those. Hide the decline in the sea level. He is a critic of the IPCC and the notion that the global sea level is rising. And he currently spoke in Copenhagen at the Climate Realist meeting. And a lot of these events got disrupted by George Soros goons. Meanwhile, if you were accredited press at the UN events, and we're going to show some of this video in the background without audio, and politely ask questions about ClimateGate, men with guns came and they drag you out. So this is literally like the Soviet Union or Nazi Germany. Doctor, thank you for joining us. You're, again, an expert on sea levels, so the former head of your department before retiring. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you very much.
Well, tell us a little bit about your scientific background. You went to this meeting, why you're a critic of it, what's really happening with our oceans.
Yes, first of all, I have been working on sea level for 40 years, and I have written 190 peer-reviewed scientific papers, and I have given about 320 scientific lectures at main conferences, most of them as keynote speaker. So I know the subject, and I even got the prize for what I have done in sea level business. So what is the difference between me and IPCC and the others? I am looking in the field. I am looking at the observational facts. The others are fiddling on their computers, playing, and they have something which they want to prove, and then they try to do that. I don't do that. I just let the nature tell me the facts, and from that I get a completely different story than they get.
Absolutely. Please continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for example, I have spent 6 expeditions to the Maldives. Maldives is a wonderful nation of 1,200 small islands. None of them is higher than 2.5 meters above sea level. So they are extremely vulnerable for storms and tsunamis, of course. But the question is sea rising, and will it really flood those islands so they will be wiped out, as IPCC says, in 50 or at the most 100 years? And the answer is sure, absolutely, from sheer field evidence, it's no. Sea level is stable, has been completely stable in the last 30, maybe 50 years. And our group, which was really sea level specialists, we have been running on exposed coast, on swamps, on lakes, in lagoons, all kind of different environments, and on lots of islands, always with the same results. And then a couple of times we have something which tells very objectively. For example, we had a wonderful tree standing nearly out in the water, and it has been there at least for 50 years. So we know that any slightest little rise in sea level would have wiped it out. And for 50 years, there has not been such sea level rise. So this was evidence. It's the tree people may lie, IPCC especially, but
doctor, how do you get around government officials in scuba gear signing agreements underwater? I mean, all they engage in is frauds. I mean, they say polar bears can't swim and are all dying when their numbers have more than tripled. I mean, these people live, breathe, sleep fraud. They are frauds. I mean, sir, I'm no sea level expert, top scientist, in the world like yourself, former head of a university on the subject, but I know how to go look at sea level records for Galveston, Texas, San Francisco, California. I went and randomly did it. They have exact measurements taken by the Coast Guard in the last 100 years from their weather stations. As you know, you have these all over the world, and it showed that in the last 100 years, it goes up a foot, down a foot, up a foot, down a foot, year after year. It's pretty much constant, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly the thing. But the interesting thing with what we were doing in the Maldives, to return to that tree, which was an evidence, and I told the people there, look at your own tree. You knew what happened when we were coming back to shoot a TV documentary in 2003. The tree was down, and I thought, wow, I was wrong. The sea has taken it. But then it was a little restaurant just beside which we used to sit and watch the tree because we liked the tree. And we asked them, what happened with the tree? They said, no. It was not the sea. It was a group of Australian scientists who pulled it down by hand to destroy my evidence.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, so this is a group of criminals. All they do is engage in fraud.
Yeah, that is how far it sometimes goes. So that's why I recently made a picture out of these things which were revealed in the emails from East Anglia University. That is something which we now see like the tip of an iceberg above the sea level, but beneath it, it's so much shady things. It were enormous quantities, and I gave you one of those. That is the tree. So the president of the Maldives, he has gone out. He has been standing in the water, and he has had his cabinet under the water in order to say that we are being drawn. But why does he say that? Because the moment he says that, first of all, he is invited to Copenhagen. Secondly, his nation is guaranteed a very large sum of money.
Yeah, he's been bought off. So describe this tree again. I'm intrigued. So it was a little rock outcrop, like we see in many areas. There was a tree just a foot or so above, and so the outcropping was still there, but they came and knocked down the tree.
Yes.
I mean, just absolutely vicious criminal creatures. I wish the people at the restaurant would have videotaped these
but
Jacobins.
They were not thinking. I was so happy that I got the right story, and because they had been upset because they also liked it, and I know precisely, by the way, that it was a month or two before me. There was a group, and I know exactly which group it was, which visited the islands, and they went there in order to, so to say, contradict me. But they couldn't do it.
You ought to confront those.
Anything which was could change my story, but they could cut the tree or pull down the tree. So this is how things are going. Then we have other areas like Tuvalu, which is an island in the Pacific, which is notorious because it's claimed that it's already in the process of being flooded. And that was the nation which was supposed to sue United States because you were supposed to put up the maximum carbon dioxide. Now they didn't do that because they didn't dare so. The fact is there that we have a measurement, a tide gauge, which have measured the sea level, the mean sea level for 30 years. And there is absolutely no rise. Absolutely no rise. Then the local people there, which is the, note what it is the Meteorological Observatory.